To call Pierre Juneau a pillar of Canadian broadcasting might just be an understatement. He headed just about every major cultural institution in this country and helped change what Canadians watched on TV and heard on the radio, championing what would become known as CanCon. It still affects what you see and what you hear today. In short, he changed the Canadian broadcast landscape. Pierre Juneau died today. And the CBC's Adrian Arsenault looks back on his long and colorful career.
It is a measure of the man's success that the young now, the iPod generation, may not even know there was once a fight that had to be fought. Canadian artists, hardly underdogs in this era. This country has, per capita, arguably the most successful music industry in the world. And he did that. Pierre Juneau made that happen. Not as an entertainer, but as a suit-wearing, politically minded policymaker decades ago. This was a man with a rare resume. Secretary of the National Film Board, Minister of Communications, President of the CBC, and crucially, Chair of the CRTC. It was in that role that he made a serious decision.
We believe that there is enough talent in Canada. It's a matter of making room for the new talents that are developing in Canada.
He introduced CanCon, a regulation that decreed a certain percentage of Canadian music would have to be played by radio stations and at key times of the day. Private radio was horrified. This would ruin them. Surely no one actually wanted to listen to Canadian music. Were there even enough bands to listen to? There were. Doors then opened for generations of musicians.
Nobody likes being regulated, and this was seen as anathema to the freedom of being able to play what you want. But it actually worked, and one of the reasons it worked is people like Canadian music.
It is no wonder that the Juno Awards are a tribute to the man himself, here receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award, typically long before he'd finished achieving.
Only 20 years ago, the phrase Canadian content, some of you who are so successful today will be surprised, was all too often used in a negative sense.
It wasn't just about music. He was worried about content and ownership of television, too. When he took the helm of the CRTC, the majority of radio and TV broadcasters in this country were foreign-owned. Within 2 years, they were 80% Canadian.
If we had not, gone the way that Pierre Juneau envisioned, and I know it makes people wince when we say that, but I think Canada would have been a culturally occupied country.
Broadcasters will be concerned themselves about quality.
None of it happened without a fight, and the fights aren't over yet. Pierre Juneau knew that until the end of his days. But how did he feel about what he'd started, accomplished for Canadians?
Oh, ben, je suis content.
He should indeed have been happy. In a way, he made Canadian broadcasting Canadian. Adrian Arsenault, CBC News, Toronto.